I want to talk about the dark side because democracy, America, and capitalism have been wonderful for us. But there's an undercurrent coming in. It's called socialism, Marxism, whatever you want to call it. So I went to military school in New York. We had to read the Communist Manifesto. It was our first book. I went, oh my God. And you could see it. That book opened my eyes to what communism is. And when just it's a taxes. And then when I found out, the more I studied it, in 1930, Columbia University Teachers College invited teachers from the Frankfurt School, the Marxist school in Germany, to teach the teachers at Columbia University's Teachers College. That was in 1930. And by the time I was in school in the 60s, you could see campus revolt starting and all this stuff. And there was, fighting, and there was Kent State, 4 dead in Ohio and all this. You could see Marxism spreading via education. So Charlie Kirk and I were invited to Arizona State University by the Barrett School for Honor Students. So Charlie Kirk and I on stage up there, and 39 professors came after us, and they shut us down. They told every student on campus at Arizona State, if you attend Kiyosaki and Kirk's events, we'll flunk you. So I had to call my congressman and all that, and they shut the professors down. And so then I got warned, just recently, what happened to Charlie will happen to you. So my question is, who shot Charlie Kirk? Any ideas on that?
Well, it's interesting. I find it interesting that, we all know that these things can do a lot of damage. But how does a young man that seemingly grew up in a fairly normal household, these algorithms are real. The stuff that goes in your head, like people pay a lot of attention to what they eat, but they don't oftentimes pay a lot of attention to what they let in their brain. And so what you're watching, what you're believing, what you're being taught is powerful. And these things, they can do good, but they can also do bad. So I find it very interesting that a seemingly unassuming young man, loving home, and go to that length to actually murder someone else. That just completely blows my mind. That you, of course, that was in your backyard.
Yeah, man, it was in my backyard, and honestly, I didn't.
Where was the backyard for you?
Yeah, so I live in the middle part of in between Salt Lake City and Provo, in a place called Highland. So Charlie Kirk was shot in Orem, Utah, at UVU, the college I went to after I dropped out of high school. I had to go back and get my undergrad credits there. Back then, it was called UVSC. But I believe more than anything and it's kind of where you started, Robert. That it's a philosophy that shot Charlie Kirk. It's a lie that shot Charlie Kirk. Now, whether it was that young man who pulled the trigger or any other number of conspiracies that may or may not be true going on right now around that murder, it's when you follow truth, when you follow a lie, that will only lead to darkness and destruction only. And when you want something for nothing, Communist Manifesto, when you believe that something is that can never be, that you're looking for happiness, you're looking for answers in a lie. And a half truth will never be a full truth, and a half truth mixed with all of this information on our phones, that's what's permeating and destroying our society right now.
But how about if unhappiness seeks revenge?
Yeah.
Like Black Lives Matter and DEI and all this stuff. Kenny has seen the picture, Trump and I sitting down.
Yeah, it was the bandage on his ear.
Bandages on his ear. It was the day after he was shot. And Trump and I are sitting in his room at Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. We're watching him get shot on TV. You talk about surrealistic. And then to have shared the stage with Charlie Kirk and they shoot him. There's something rotten in this country right now. It's eating at our core, our spirit, our values, our morality, our ethics. That's the worst part. Not who shoots who, but what's eating us right now. Why are we so angry when we supposedly live in the land of freedom? Any comments on that one?
And this kind of comes back to, I think you, Robert, you've been so good at pointing this out. At the core, we have a financial problem in our society. The rich are getting richer. You've wrote the book on that. Why the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poor. And I think there's so many different reasons behind that. But in my mind, it's the root that there is a money problem. Our money is corrupt.
Our money is rotten.
It's rotten. And it's been rotten since 1971. Been rotten before that, but 1971 amplified it and exposed it. And that rottenness of money, because money is a tool. It is a tool. And today people are struggling with money. And so they're looking for answers in all the wrong places. And everywhere they're looking for part of a system, though I don't believe that teachers in the school know any better. They're following what they've been told to do. But there are people that are pulling the strings in this world right now that, like puppet masters, it's power. They're looking for power and to hold power. And if you understand the system behind all of the problems that we have today, it's the money system. It is the money system.
And after 71, every time they printed money, the rich got richer and the poor got poor. Because when you print money, inflation goes up, or real estate goes up, like gold goes up, oil goes up, sugar, salt, chicken, eggs, milk goes up also. So this fake money is setting this gap between the rich and poor that's so excessive. It's dangerous now in my experience. And it's because of our unsound money.
I was going to say,
My subject,
we all know, we've all talked about this, that they don't teach
money.
money in school. So we all had to learn it outside of the system.
Right.
And so one of the things that I learned is, who are your teachers?
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things. And if it's 10 seconds on TikTok and that's your teacher, then that could be a problem. Might not be, but it could be. You got to really, really be careful on what you're letting in. No different than food. If you eat the wrong food, you're going to get fat. If you put the wrong stuff in your brain from this stuff, you're going to have a problem, and I think that's what we have right now.
One of the ways, and we talked a little bit about this on a show we did earlier today, it's the ownership economy and the dependency economy. And I think the algorithms on our phone are trying to keep people dependent on the medical system, the financial system, the education system,
Social security.
social security. The more you're dependent on that, that's in direct violation with freedom. You'll never be free unless you're independent. And money is the tool to help you become independent. But it starts right here. You have to free your mind before your economics will ever follow.
But this is the worst part. The more they print, more inflation goes up.
Yeah.
And this is why Trump is such a good man, because he is involved in the Genius Act. And the Genius Act is why Ethereum is going to go up.